They tell you a house can't want things. Wood and stone and old plaster don't hunger. I believed that the morning I inherited my grandmother's house on Mob Lane. I believed it right up until I found the first room that shouldn't have been there. 6 rooms, I'd counted. 6. The house had always had 6. But by the third night, walking the halls because sleep wouldn't come, I counted 7. And from behind the 7th door, very faintly, something was breathing. I didn't open it. I want that to be clear. I went to the kitchen and I told myself the breathing was the pipes. Old houses breathe when the beams settle, but the pipes don't breathe in rhythm. The pipes don't quicken when you lean close, and the pipes, when you press your ear to the wall, don't whisper your own name back to you half a second after you've said it. I stood there a long time, with my cheek against the cold plaster, listening to myself being repeated. By the 5th morning, the extra door had moved. It stood on the landing now. Same swollen pine, same damp. The cellar wall was smooth stone again, as though it had never opened at all. I measured the landing 3 times. The wall was a full 4 feet deeper than it should have been. The house was growing. And the terrible part, the part I couldn't stop turning over, was that it was growing inward, making room for something. I found the cellar stairs behind it, narrow, rotting, going down into a dark that felt waiting. Gran had always told me there was no cellar, said the house sat on a slab of solid limestone, but the stairs went down, and the air at the bottom was warm and wet and moving, like breath against my ankles. I did not go all the way down. I want you to understand that. I turned back, but the stairs turned with me. There was a mirror at the end of the upstairs hall, old, tarnished at the edges. Gran's. I avoided it after the second night because the room it showed behind me wasn't the room I was standing in. It showed the hallway with 7 doors, all of them open. And when I turned around to check, my hallway had 6 doors, all closed, exactly as it should be. But the mirror was always a little ahead of the house, showing me what it was going to become. On the 7th night, it laughed, softly, low, the way Gran used to laugh when I'd said something foolish. And the cold that started in my chest didn't stop, because I understood then what was behind the door. It wasn't a ghost. It was something that had been listening to every voice that had ever filled these rooms, learning them, wearing them, getting closer each night to sounding exactly like the people I had loved and lost. The phone rang at 3 in the morning. A number I knew. My mother's. My mother who'd been dead since spring. I let it ring until it stopped. Then it rang again. And again. The line had been disconnected when I moved in. I had watched the man cut it. When I finally picked up, there was no voice, just breathing. And then, so quiet I almost missed it, my mother said my name. The way she said it when I was small and frightened. She asked me to come downstairs. She said she was so cold, and the house was so warm. There was a nursery I'd never opened. The door at the end of the upstairs hall, the one that had always been painted shut, it wasn't painted shut anymore. Inside was a small rocking chair, and it was rocking, slowly,
A mobile turned above an empty crib, and the room smelled like baby powder and milk, and something older, something that had been waiting a very long time for a child to come back. I have no children, but the house remembered one, and it was trying so patiently to remember the rest of us.
I tried to leave. I want you to know that. I packed a bag and I walked to the front door and I opened it. And on the other side was the hallway. My hallway. I turned around and the front door was behind me again. I opened it again. Hallway. Again. Hallway. The house didn't want me to go. The house had made room for me. And a house that makes room intends to fill it.
More doors came, 3 by the 9th night, 3 pine doors where the walls had been solid, and behind each one a voice I knew. My mother, who died in the spring. My brother, who I hadn't spoken to in years. They called me by the names only they had used. They asked me to come in. They said the door was unlocked. They said it had always been unlocked, that I had only ever imagined it closed, and their voices were perfect. That was the worst of it. Perfect.
It rained for 3 days. The house started to weep. Water came in under the doors, slow, black, spreading across the floors. And the water whispered, not the rain, the water inside. It pooled in the kitchen, in the hall, and wherever it touched the walls, the plaster went soft, and the walls began to move, in and out, breathing, the whole house breathing, and the breathing was getting louder. I called a man from the church, though I'm not a religious woman. He came in the afternoon. He stood on the landing and looked at the door and went very quiet. He pressed his palm flat against the wood. Then he turned to me, and his face was wrong, too still, too patient, and in a voice that wasn't quite his, he said, "It's so warm in here." He left. He never came back. No one did after that. The house didn't want them to.
On the 11th night, every door in the house opened at once. I heard them, one after another, all down the hall, all through the rooms, a long, soft chain of latches lifting. And the light that came out of them was not electric light. It was warm, yellow, the light of a house full of people who love you. And from every open door a voice I had ever loved called my name. All of them, at once, asking me to come in.
I'm writing this in the kitchen. It's the last room with a wall that doesn't breathe. The doors have been moving all night. I can hear Gran on the stairs. She's calling me. She says the house has room for one more. She says it built this room just for me. And the thing I can't stop thinking, the thing that's eating me alive, is that the kitchen door is unlocked now. And from somewhere very close, something is breathing.